Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take the second half of the show to take your live comments and questions. However, we don't always have enough time. Well, we usually don't have enough time to get around to all the live comments and questions that get sent in. But if you sent in one of those comments or questions, I want to make sure you don't have to wait too long to get them answered. So we gather up the unused comments and questions, and we address them here on companion videos. Now, normally on companion videos, I'm joined by the wonderful Kimberly Kern, but this was kind of a last minute thing to get this one in, so I wasn't able to ask her to come in, but don't worry, Kimberly will be back for future companion videos. But listen, while we're here, why don't we just settle in and get to some of those comments and questions that you guys sent in, shall we? And we're going to start getting caught up with one from Kung Fu Hot Dog, who writes, John, when Bucky looks at Yuri and the cute Asian girl, she was cute. Do you think he believes Yuri has found peace about his son? Their moment together when he tells him was perfect. I can imagine Bucky doing his lonely man Bill Bixby walk. Dun, 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 the end of the music of the Hulk. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think he did. I think he was able to look in. I mean, I think there was a smile on Bucky's face for two reasons. Reason number one is that he felt good that he had taken that step to come out and tell Yuri about his son. I thought that was very, very important. But also, just seeing Yuri being able to be in there and smiling, probably just the fact of knowing now, having a little bit of closure probably helped him a lot. And I think Bucky did know that. So I think that was key. All right, next up, we've got Tim Tracy writes, Hey, John, just finished watching the season finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I loved it. Bradley's ending was beautiful. That's Isaiah. Was beautiful and earned. What I can't understand is the hate. I make up my own mind, but seeing a 5 out of 10 rating kind of hurts. Thoughts and thanks. Well, I mean, listen, there's a couple things you got to understand. I don't know where you saw 5 out of 10, but all film and movies and TV shows are subjective. Just because I like something and you like something, that doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. Just like I'm sure there's a lot of probably popular films that you don't quite understand why people like it so much because it didn't just quite work for you. Now, I'm sure there's also a small percentage of people out there who like black superhero, F this, thumbs down. Like I'm sure there's a small percentage of those cousin humping basement dwellers, but really it's subjective, right? Like, again, for me, I often go to one of the great sci-fi classics of all time, the original Blade Runner. Doesn't work for me. I mean, it's acknowledged as one of the great sci-fi classics ever. Most of my friends absolutely adore it, and I wish I did, but it just doesn't work for me. I don't hate Harrison Ford, and I don't hate him. It's just that, it just didn't work for me. And you got to understand that a lot of other things that some people are going to watch, it's just not going to work for them. Not because they have an agenda or anything. It didn't work for them. And you just got to accept that as a fan of this stuff. All right. Thanks for writing that in, Tim. Next up, we've got Tim also writes, sorry, meant to send the other message. Anyway, I really enjoyed the finale. It was a little rushed, but the suit, his aerobatic moves were fantastic, were awesome. The Yuri resolution was a tad short. I thought it was perfect. I didn't think it should have been a second longer than what it was. I do think it could have had a few more episodes. Can't wait for Loki. And I also cannot wait for Loki. And listen, I'm in agreement with you. I do not like this 8-episode garbage. Or in this case, 6-episode garbage. I do not like this 6-episode garbage at all. Whatever. Falcon Winter Soldier was great and a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. But yes, I'm really over this 6-episode thing. I don't like 8 episodes either. I minimum episodes a show should be is 12 episodes. That's just me. Hell, go back to the way it was for decades and decades and decades of like 22 episodes a year. How about you do that? Anyway, Ralph's Boner writes, Hey, John. I completely understand your preference for the Captain America moniker retiring with Steve. However, can we all at least agree that Sam has earned it? I thought the finale was beautiful, a little corny in some spots, but I still cried a little. Listen, I'll just say what I said in the spoiler discussions of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I never did, nor do I still don't think anybody else should be called Captain America other than the true Captain America, which is Steve Rogers. I don't think Bucky should be called Captain America. I don't think John Walker, and I don't think Sam should be. That being said, over the course of the show did a wonderful job of kind of chronicling Sam's journey to the place where he felt he could and even should take on that moniker. And while if I was in charge of Marvel, I would still have called Sam something other than Captain America, like anything other than Captain America. By the time the season ended, I understood Sam's character and why he did take on the moniker of Captain America. And it worked really well. Again, it's not what I would have done, but you don't have to do what I would have done in order for me to enjoy it. And they did it in such a way because they built it on story and narrative and character. And it was those elements that led us to the finale where Sam finally did embrace that moniker, and it worked, and I understood it. Again, not what I would have done, but yes, the show earned it. The show itself, with their narrative path, earned, getting that finale and Sam calling himself by that moniker. Still not what I would have done, but I appreciate how they did it, and I'm okay with it. And I don't think Sam's going to be Captain America for a long time. I'm sure at some point Bucky will be Captain America, and then Steve will come back and he'll be Captain America, and then maybe Sam will be Captain America again, whatever. But for now, it worked for me, and I can live with it, and I can move forward with it because they did it in a good way. So that was my kind of take on it. Anyway, thanks for writing that in, man. All right, next up. Where are we at? Ryan Lohner writes, one of my favorite things about Invincible is that it's not wall-to-wall gore. True. Each of those scenes is spaced out enough that it actually does feel shocking every time it happens. Yes, because something like Invincible could very easily just go, oh, look, in every single scene, look at heads are smashing and blah, blah, blah. They could do that, but they restrain on it a bit. So when it does happen, it is like, wow. So like when he's fighting in the end of the last episode, when he's fighting, what's the character's name? The Immortal? When he's fighting the Immortal, and like fists are going through guts and intestines are coming out, like it continues to shock you. If you overdo it, it won't have that impact, but they handle it pretty well. So yes, I agree with you on that, Ralphs. Ryan Lohner. Oh, so that was Ryan. Next up, Denny Dots, who tips in like $20. Thank you for supporting our channel on that level, Denny. Writes, Captain America and the Winter Soldier ended great, albeit somewhat predictably. I have one question though. With the events making news headlines about super soldiers and terrorist attacks, where are all of the other Avengers to help Sam and Bucky? Okay, Danny, maybe you've never heard me say this before, but everybody needs to cut that out. Okay, everybody needs to stop. One of the big problems with shared cinematic universe movies or shows is everybody wants everybody else to pop up every time, even if the show or movie is supposed to be about somebody else. All right. So like one movie happens, like, why didn't Thor come? The last fight happened in New York. Why didn't Spider-Man come? You know, like, because it's not Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Thor. It's not called Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Spider-Man. And at some point, like, we as fans just have to accept, guess what? This movie is about Doctor Strange. This movie is about, or this show is about War Machine. This show is about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show is about what, and we need to get, because yes, every single superhero, I mean, you can do this with the CW verse too, right? Like every time that Flash has an issue, why doesn't Supergirl come and help? Right? Or when Arrow was still on, whenever Arrow has a problem, why doesn't Flash come and help? Right? We need to get off of that. We need to move past that. It doesn't matter where they were. All right. I kind of like what they did in Spider-Man Far From Home when like Peter acts like all the fans. Well, where's Captain Marvel? Well, where's Thor? Well, where's this person? And Samuel Jackson was kind of like Marvel saying, busy, 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 off-world busy. Look, just look, this is a Spider-Man movie, okay? I'm not going to have Avengers show up every single time. This is a Spider-Man movie. And I think we all just have to accept when we go to it, look, we know Scarlet Witch is going to be in Doctor Strange, and maybe a cameo or two could appear in different things, but we need to go into these things understanding this is a Black Panther movie. Or this is a Captain Marvel movie, or this is a Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. And they're not going to have all the Avengers come running every time something happens. And they can't, it would become a running joke if in every single episode, you know, it would be like, did you watch Sesame Street as a kid? I know I watched Sesame Street as a kid. Remember, and I'm back when I watched Sesame Street as a kid, it was back when nobody else had ever seen Snuffleupagus except Big Bird, right? And every time there would have to be an excuse built in about why, oh, everybody just missed Snuffleupagus, right? It would become a joke in the MCU if every single movie they ever did and every TV show they did, you had to have your obligatory scene of somebody explaining why none of the other Avengers were showing up. At some point, we as the audience just have to go, okay, we're going to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we just got to move on for that. Otherwise, in every comic book, movie, TV show, or whatever, we're going to ask every single time, whether it's a DC movie, like Aquaman, right? One of the first questions I got on my show after Aquaman came out is, well, why did he get a hold of Wonder Woman to help? The world was at stake. Why didn't he contact Batman for help? Why didn't he try to reach out to his friend, the Flash? Because the world was at stake, right? But they did, that's what I said, look, because it's an Aquaman movie. That's why he didn't call Flash or Wonder Woman or Bruce Wayne. It's an Aquaman movie because it's going to be about Aquaman. And so I just think yeah, if this was the real world, of course, all these things would be available to help, but this is the cinematic universes and we need standalone movies and we need characters to have their own stories and their own movies to tell those stories. So we just gotta collectively, Denny, get together and just say, we get it. This is Falcon the Winter Soldier. We're not going to have all the other Avengers. And we can't have every single movie and TV show take out 5 minutes to explain why all the other members of that cinematic universe aren't coming to help, because that would just become a joke. Anyway, so you're not the first one to ask, Denny. You're not the first one to ask, but yeah, we just got to accept that and move on from it. All right, next up. Victor Vision writes, hey, John, I just can't help after seeing this episode and finale. You cut off one head, two more shall take its place. Sharon getting retconned or reconnected with S.H.I.E.L.D./Sword as a double agent / power broker, and U.S. agent getting groomed by Madam Hydra. Your thoughts, please. Well, I've given many of my thoughts many times already on my thoughts on the finale there. I think obviously they're setting up Sharon to be probably the main antagonist of Iron Wars. We know that the synopsis of Iron Wars is what happens when all this high-end technology falls into the wrong hands. And what does Sharon say? In the post-credit scene of Falcon Winter Soldier? Yeah, now I'm going to call all of our buyers because now I have access to all this technology and weaponry. So I think it's pretty clear they're setting her up for Iron Wars. As far as the whole thing about Madam Hydra, I don't think you're ever going to hear her referred to in the MCU as Madam Hydra. I don't think that's going to be a thing. You got to remember, Valentina was a minor, small character in the comics. Hardly ever showed up. Was it like an ex-girlfriend of Nick Fury's at some point? But the whole Madam Hydra thing, I don't think they're actually going to go there. But it is going to be interesting to see where she fits in and what she's involved in at this point. So it's going to be cool to see which way they go with that. All right, next up. Not Kevin Feige writes, I don't get the hate for John Walker. The man suffers from PTSD. It's not his fault. He tried to make peace with Sam and Bucky. Instead, they antagonized him and lost his friend to a bunch of goons. I really don't know how that makes him an a-hole. Well, I mean, look, some of what you're saying, Kevin, is true. But you also have to understand that he didn't just lose his friend to a bunch of goons. He lost his friend to a bunch of goons because he decided to dismiss what Sam was doing, trying to talk Carly down, and just rush in and force a confrontation. And in that confrontation that he forced, his friend died. Also, Bucky and Sam, you got to understand, their best friend was Captain America. To see somebody just come along and put on a costume and call themselves by his name is offensive. It would be offensive to them. It'd be totally offensive to them. And then Sam made a really good point. Like when Lamar and John Walker got Bucky out of jail, and the four of them were talking outside of the police station, and John Walker was kind of suggesting, hey, we should work together on this. Sam made a very valid point. He said, look, because you are government, there are certain rules, regulations, and procedures that you're going to have to be hand-tied by, and you got to follow. We don't. As kind of free agents, we don't have to do that. We're going to have a little bit more freedom and liberty to act in different ways. Therefore, it wouldn't make sense for us to team up. right? And also you got to remember, like earlier, John Walker basically insulted them by saying, it'd sure be good if I had, like, I'm paraphrasing here, if I had Captain America's sidekicks with me. And like, it's like, dude, that's so the wrong thing to say. So he antagonized them as well. And then, of course, when Sam very logically said, look, as the government, you have to follow certain rules. As free agents, we don't have to do that. It wouldn't make sense for us to work with you right now. Then he took that step of antagonizing the situation more, saying, then stay out of my way. Right? And he got Lamar killed and all that kind of stuff. Now, remember, I love this character. I think he's great. But yeah, the fact that he was Walmart Captain America, nobody wanted him to take that up. It was completely unearned, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you got to understand the hate for the character. And I think they wanted us to hate the character. That's good storytelling right there. The worst thing a storyteller wants to hear is a character we're supposed to really dislike and we don't care about them, right? They wanted us to have a strong emotional reaction to John Walker, and they did it perfectly. And that's why I love the character being in the show. Absolutely love the character being in the show. All right, next up, we've got QC Wheeler writes, do you think they will harvest the last flag smasher for the super soldier serum like they did Bradley? Because we know the U.S. government has done it in the past. It's a good question. It's a fair question. Honestly, I think no. And the reason I think no is because they've now gone to that well too many times. Right? It was fine. They decided to use that as kind of their story. Look, they already used that as a bit of a, like, more super soldiers was already a story part in Winter Soldier. Now, more super soldiers is kind of the main crux of Falcon and Winter Soldier. You can't go back to that. I really don't think they should. The MCU has made the mistake before. Well, it depends on if you consider Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. MCU, because Kevin Feige had nothing to do with it. But they went back to the Hydra well way too many times. And I don't think they want to repeat that mistake. So because of that, it would just be repeating itself really, again, a third time. We're going back to, oh no, there's more super soldiers out there. A third time, it would be beating a dead horse. And so, no, I really don't think they're going to do that, QC. Good question, but I really don't think they're going to do that. All right. David B. writes, why are people questioning how Sharon Carter ended up where she is? After the events on Endgame, she became someone who made out, if not more, with her uncle Steve. That would send me over the edge too. And again, listen, one of my favorite things about the whole show was Sharon being power broker, and here's why. Sharon being the power broker marks the first time in the MCU that a character who was not just on screen for 5 minutes, but was like in a couple of other movies, a character who's already been in a couple of movies as a hero has turned bad. Like whenever we meet villains, it's always after they've turned bad, right? Every villain at some point was a decent human being and a good guy that then turned bad. We often hear the story like, yeah, me and Dr. Psycho were good partners and friends. We were the best of friends. And then it all went wrong, right? We always hear about it after the fact. But this is the first time in the MCU that we actually got to see a heroic character on the good guy's side go through a couple of movies and then turn bad because of the classic supervillain turned trope, betrayal. She was betrayed by her country. And I love that. So I love the way they handled Sharon and how she ended up where she was. All right, next up. Where are we at? The Wakandan Forever writes, Mortal Kombat. I loved it. I wish I could say the same. Everything I wanted. My all-time favorite video game franchise. They finally got it right. My favorite character, Sub-Zero, was unreal. Move over, Billy Goats, and Bambino. The video game movie curse is over. Flawless victory. Oh, I got to disagree. I think the video game movie curse is still firmly in place. Look, I'm not saying I didn't have fun with Mortal Kombat because I did have fun. There are certainly, like, Kano had some fantastic lines. The violence was, hyper, kind of gory and really cool to see. I enjoyed the violence. There was a lot of stuff there. There was a lot of little elements to like, but it was horrific writing, a terrible story, cringe-worthy scenes, and the editing was absolutely abysmal. It was absolutely horrendous editing. So while I had fun with it, and I did, and I'm probably going to go see it again. As a matter of fact, Ann and I might actually go to the theater tonight and go see it again because I had some fun with it. You know, Jack's smacking the guy's head, and I mean, yeah, it's fun, but it's also really terrible. Like really terrible. It's both. It is both almost unwatchably bad, yet undeniably fun. Elements of it were undeniably fun at the same time. And I don't know how you have Mortal Kombat and no tournament. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I had fun with it. I'm probably going to go see it again, but it's really bad. It's really bad. Anyway, next up. Verisimilitude's Lost Sunrise. Falcon the Winter Soldier. Excellent character development was thrown away in order to favor mediocre, soulless action and 10-year-old boy logic, both in the short and wide scope of events. Bottom tier MCU. I liked Isaiah's ending, and that's it. Still, thanks for the entertainment. Well, hey, listen, man. Again, it's all subjective. You watched it, you gave it a shot, and it didn't work for you, and that's totally cool. I completely disagree. I thought it was incredibly engaging. I thought they touched on things and issues we've never seen the MCU touch on or try to go there before. I thought it made incredible social commentary at the same time of being exciting. I thought the aerial combat was the best we've ever seen in the MCU. That includes anything to do with Iron Man. I thought it was great. Now, the first 3 episodes I thought were good. The show didn't get great for me until around episode 4, but overall I thought it was winner. But it didn't work for you on that level, and that's totally cool, man. Thank you for sharing your point of view on it. I appreciate that. All right, next up. Ben Burnside writes, 1 of 2. Hey, John. So I've waited for almost 20 years to watch The Mighty Ducks, and I gotta say that I wouldn't recommend the watch. I will admit that it's endearing in parts, but the majority of the stuff they have on this new show is just garbage. I'm not a fan of the lame humor or Emilio Estevez's storyline, or of the name of the hockey team, or how there's not a lot of hockey played, etc. Maybe I'm being sour about it because I've been waiting for so long, like how you did before the Star Wars prequels. Yeah, listen, I have absolutely no interest in watching The Mighty Ducks, the new show. I have no interest in it. I saw, the announcement for it at that big Disney Investors Day call announcement event. Like all the rest of you, I watched that and I was just like, that looks bad. Now, I've heard a couple of people write in, Ben, and say that they actually quite like it. And so I've thought about it, but then again, I watch like another clip or whatever, and I just think this looks like it's not for me. And hearing you write in and saying that you had a bad experience with it too, that just kind of cements it. Yeah, I have zero interest in it. Again, I'm not saying it's bad because I haven't seen it. I'm just saying to me, it looks like it's bad, and therefore I don't want to waste my time, especially when I have so much other stuff that is exciting to me that I haven't got around to watching it. All right, next up. We got Verisimilitude's Lost Son again writes, turning down my previous comment about Falcon the Winter Soldier, I didn't want to sound that negative and yuck on your yum. It just didn't work for me at the end. That's totally cool. Nothing wrong with that. Mainly because of the rushed pace, I think. But like Isaiah, also Sam's diplomacy. I also liked Sam's diplomacy and enjoyed it overall. Hugs. Hey, listen, dude, again, I try to find, even in movies and shows I just think are bad, I try to find elements that I liked about it. That doesn't change my mind that it was a bad movie or a bad TV show or whatever, but I like to find elements. It sounds like you'd like to do the same. And again, man, that was just your experience with it. We all have unique experiences with the movies or shows we watch, and that was yours, and it was different than mine, and that's cool. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, man. All right, Tim Tracy writes, hey, John, the other day you were talking about the studio, The Asylum. Well, they're back with their newest film. Wait for it. Ape versus Monster. Obviously a play on Godzilla versus Kong. Yes, really, on May 3rd. I've only seen a handful of their movies, not masterpieces by any means, just B-movie fun. Yep. The Asylum, they've been at it for a long time. And actually, when I moved AMC Movie News into the studio that later became also the studio for Collider Video, across the alley from us was another studio building, and that was the building of The Asylum. And they couldn't have been nicer. When we moved in, a bunch of their Asylum guys came over with stacks of DVDs of their movies saying, we found out you guys are moving in here. We're fans of Movie Talk, and we want you guys. They couldn't have been they were the nicest guys in the world. Nicest guys in the world. And yeah, they made, whether it's instead of Snakes on a Plane, they made Snakes on a Train. Instead of I Am Legend and Gemini Man, which are based on each other, they had and Omega Man, they made I Am Omega. Instead of Transformers, they made the Transmorphers. And now, apparently, they made the new one, Ape versus Monster. Can't wait to see it, Tim. Can't wait to see it. All right, next up. What the Jess writes. Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time tipper. Thank you so much, Jess. I think after post-credit scene from Falcon and the Winter Soldier that Sharon Carter is being set up to be the villain of the upcoming Armor Wars. What do you think makes sense to me? Well, I mean, honestly, Jess, I've been saying that for a bit now, and I said it on the John Campea Show. I said it on both parts of our open spoiler discussion. Absolutely, I mean that's absolutely seems to be what they're setting up. Again, if you look at what the synopsis for Iron Wars is, and then or Armor Wars, I keep saying Iron Wars, Armor Wars, and then you look at what happened in the post-credit scene. I mean, listen, I don't have any insider information saying that's what they are doing absolutely officially, but I mean, I'll be shocked if it's not, because exactly what they say Armor Wars' synopsis is exactly what Sharon was set up to do. So it seems like a no-brainer to me. So let's see if we're right, Jesse. Let's see if we're right. Okay, next up. Suthius writes, at the end of episode 6, we see what is possibly the title for season 2, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. However, I think this could also be the title for Captain America 4 movie. It's similar to the second Cap movie, but I don't there'd be any confusion. But you don't think there'd be any confusion? Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it could be called Captain America 4, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. However, that would be a bit confusing. Like, I don't like the whole notion of that could be confusing to the audience, because a lot of the times when we say that, that's not giving the audience enough credit. But we already have a movie, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So if we call Captain America and the Winter Soldier, I mean, which movie are we talking about again? It does open itself up to some confusion. So I don't know if that'll be the name of the movie. I do think they're going to do a second season. And I think they're going to move Sam Wilson and his Captain America between the Disney Plus TV series and the movies. So at least for a few years. So I think we're going to get both, Suthius. At least that's how I see it. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about that. Anyway, let's see. Next up. The Wakandan Forever writes, no spoilers. First time a character has grown on me. John Walker. First time I saw him, I called him Dollar Store Captain America. I called him Walmart Captain America. I bordered on Salvation Army donation bin. I like that. I couldn't stand him. By the end of the show, I was interested in the character. I agree. Listen, when his first stupid face showed up on screen at the end of episode 1, when we saw that dumb face, in the Captain America thing, I'm like, oh, no way. To hell with this Walmart Captain America. Like, no way. But he ended up being a pivotal, deep, excellent character in the show, and I really liked him. Wakandan also writes, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, great show. Some of the best action scenes of all in all of the MCU. Yes, that includes Infinity War, Civil War, and Endgame. Best flight scenes they have ever done. I agree with that. Best aerial combat scenes ever. P.S. John, quick question about spoilers. If it's in the trailers, consider that free game? Yes. If something's in the trailer of a movie, that is free game because everybody's seen it, or at least it's been publicly available. So yes, then it's free game. All right. Wakanda also writes, it's funny. I've always focused on the main characters in films, but after watching WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, every person who shows up has meaning. This is true. Before I thought Falcon's wings were cool and Wanda was pretty with neat powers. Now I pay attention to everyone. And you're right. We got Darcy and Wu showing up. We've got, all these different characters popping up, like seemingly unimportant, but then they actually have deep meaning. That is a really cool pattern that the Disney Plus Marvel shows seem to be developing. It'll be neat to see if they continue that as we get into Loki, She-Hulk, Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, the Armor Wars, on and on. Let's see if they keep that up, because you're right. Now when we meet a character, we better pay attention because they could become important. So actually really good observation, Wakandan. All right, next up. Casey McNatt writes, hey, John, I was late to the party with this, but I have just began watching Alan Tudyk's series' Resident Alien, and so far I am having a blast. Tudyk is so funny in this. I can't wait to see more episodes. Have you seen Resident Alien, and what do you think? Yeah, Casey, you probably haven't heard me talk about it. I freaking love this show. Love it. It is the perfect show for Alan Tudyk. Perfect show. His comedic sensibilities are perfect, and his comedic performance stylings are perfect for this show. I knew nothing about Resident Alien. I understand it was a graphic novel or something before. I was completely unaware of it, didn't know anything about it. So I've been watching this show cold. I'm all the way through the season now. I was heartbroken when I realized the episode I was watching was the final episode. I was totally heartbroken. This show is great. I absolutely love it. I'm glad you're on board with it. Guys, if you have not started watching Resident Alien, watch it. It's just a good show. It's a good story, and it's just hilarious. It's just so funny, and Alan Tudyk is an absolute treasure, and he should rank way higher on everybody's lists. I mean, he should get a lot more credit than he gets, because I think the dude is awesome, and he showcases it in Resident Alien. All right, next up, Suthius writes, when I think about it, now that Sam is the new Cap, there is now more of a greater chance of his family and close friends being in danger. That's true. And targets for other villains in future installments. Very curious to see if they'll tackle this new angle of Sam. Yeah, because, Steve had no family. Steve, I mean, even when he started, his parents had died. All he had was Bucky, let alone 100 years later as a man out of time, right? He had no family to worry about. And that is going to see, like, he is an open superhero. People know he is Sam Wilson. The Wilson family lives down there. They've got a boat. I mean, that could come into play, and they should explore that a little bit, I think. I think they should explore that a bit. So I don't know. We'll see where they go with that, but it's a good thing to bring up, Suthius. All right, next up. Wakandan Forever writes, okay, I write this only half joking. Sam is a counselor, veteran, great communicator, and even a national superhero. If Disney wants to go all in, Sam goes on a presidential run. King T'Challa runs a country and fights evil as a hero. Think about it. I don't know that they can go there, because I don't think you can run for president with a criminal record. I'm not American, I'm Canadian, although I live in the US. I'm Canadian. I don't understand the American political system that well, but I believe if you have a criminal record, I don't think you can run for president. I could be wrong about that. And I think even if he's been pardoned, I think, he was on the run for 2 years. So, I mean, I don't know what the technicality. It's an interesting thought, because he has excellent political potential, but no, you can't be the president of the United States and be a superhero at the same time. Couldn't do it. All right. Wakanda Forever also writes, all right, 12-year-old Wakandan again. I have wanted your opinion for a while. If you had to put money on it, dream match, fight to the death, Okoye of the Dora Milaje or King Leonidas of the 300 Spartans. No problem. Oh, that's easy. King Leonidas. That one's easy. King Leonidas. I don't think in the world of fiction, I don't know that there was, I normally Batman beats everybody. Batman would have trouble with King Leonidas of the 300. So I have to say, there's not many, there's not very, very, very few, individual fictitious characters that are non-superpowered that I would pick in a death match against Okoye. But Batman would be one. King Leonidas of the 300 would be one. I feel pretty solid in those picks, so I'll go with those ones. Wakandan. All right, next up, Daryl Best Wadley writes, hey, John, I wanted to ask if you ever saw the movie 8 Mile with Eminem. Yes. I rewatched it last week. It won an Academy Award, actually, that movie did. I rewatched it last week. Not a perfect movie, but I feel Eminem did a great job for his first movie. And that end battle, one of the best redemption scenes ever in my book. I thought 8 Mile was okay. I mean, I really like Eminem. But, I mean, yes, he was in a movie playing himself, essentially. So that's fine. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it's like a great movie like a lot of people feel. But it's a solid movie. I've watched it a few times. The music in it is great. The great main song is one that I had in my playlist for many years. I probably still do have it. Lose yourself in the moment you want it. You gotta never let it go. You only get... Yeah, anyway. Now I'm trying to think of all the lyrics. Still probably have that song in my playlist. Again, I don't think it's a great movie, but I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I thought Eminem, for playing himself, did a very solid job. Not surprised he never broke out to being a big movie star after that. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was quite solid. All right, next up. BK Dan writes, John, you can break it down and explain what time, or can you break it down and explain what time it is as far as year in the MCU? I've seen various threads saying anything from 2021 to 2026. Well, my guess would be 2024. This is guess. If I'm not mistaken, Infinity War, I believe, was 2019, I believe. And then it's 5 years later. So that would make it 2024. So in Spider-Man Far From Home, it could theoretically still be 2024 because that takes place 8 months after the events of Endgame. So my guess, I don't know for sure, but it seems to me to make sense that the year would be 2024. If anybody's got something definitive they can point to, that would be very helpful. But as far as I know, it's 2024. All right, next up. We got Mike McHale writes, Hey, John, hope you're well. I am doing well, thank you. What are some of your favorite movies that revolve around music that aren't a musical or biopic of a famous musician or band? Some of mine are Almost Famous, Hearts Beat Loud, Sing Street. Sing Street's fantastic. I love Sing Street. And Frank. Thanks and have a good one. Honestly, Mike, I don't know. That's a good question. It's a very oddly specific question. What is it again? Favorite movies that revolve around music that aren't musical or biopic. Damn, man, that's something I'd have to prepare for. I'd have to think about that. I don't know. Again, Sing Street is terrific. What's another one? Man, I don't know. Everyone I'm thinking about everyone that's popping into my head is either a musical or a biopic. So I got to take a pass on the question. It's a good question. It's just something I can't pull off the top of my head. I'd have to sit down and think about it for a while. That's a good question though, Mike. What about you guys at home? What is your favorite movies? How do you word this? Favorite movies that revolve around music, but they aren't musicals and they're not a biopic about a musician. That's a very interesting question. Jump down to the comments and leave Mike your thoughts there. All right. Good question, Mike. Next up, Daryl Best Wadley writes, Thanks for the video, How to YouTube. It's everyone's dream to be successful on YouTube. And even though, well, it's not everybody's dream to be successful on YouTube. And even though 99% of us won't make it, your video personally gave me that 1% of hope. Congrats on all your success. You truly are an inspiration. But I mean, here's the thing, and I want to emphasize this a lot. If you're getting into YouTubing thinking I'm doing it because I want it to be a career, you've lost already. I mean, I certainly never got into YouTube thinking I was going to make a career out of it. No way. I never got into blogging thinking I'd be able to make it a career. I got into it because it was fun, because I enjoyed it. It gave me an outlet to talk about the things that I love to talk about and do it with an online community. And it just so happened that I was pretty good at it, and it grew like gangbusters. And I was able to parlay that into it, but I never started out with the intention of, I'm going to write a blog post and someday I'm going to be able to make a living out of this. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Get involved in YouTubing because it's fun. Because you want to contribute your voice to the online fan community, whether it's the sneaker fan community, the music fan community, the fashion fan community, makeup fan community, technology fan community, movie fan community, whatever it is, because you want to contribute your voice to it and because you enjoy it and it's just a good experience to increase your fandom of whatever it is your fandom's about. I always tell people, if you're jumping into YouTube thinking because I get to now make it a career, it's like going on your first date and saying, I'm going on a date with this girl because I want to marry her. Well, that's not a good, healthy way to start a relationship. I mean, you just go out, enjoy each other's company, see if you can develop a relationship, then see where the relationship goes. And, first say, oh, I like that girl. I'm going to see if I can marry her. Want to go out on Saturday? Sure. Great. Because, I think it'd be great if we could get married. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot. I'm busy Saturday. So, again, I'm not saying that it's hopeless. I'm just saying approach it for the right reasons. Approach it the way I approached it, which was just to do it for fun. And if something turns out of that, great. And if not, fine, because you're still having fun. And that's the key. I think a lot of people kill their potential of having fun doing it when they approach it with the expectation that I'm going to make a career out of this. You kill your fun. And you may actually be sabotaging yourself before you get started. But anyway, this is not How to YouTube Part 2, but that's just my thought. But anyway, thanks for the kind words, man. I had a lot of fun making that video. I'm glad you got something out of it, and hopefully it'll get you motivated to do some stuff with blogging, podcasting, YouTubing yourself. All right, thanks, Daryl. Next up, James Argento writes, with May the 4th being 10 days away, that's right, May the 4th is coming up fast. 10 days away as of this writing. Do you think we will get any Star Wars news or content other than the series premiere of Bad Batch, such as casting, series premiere dates for Book of Boba Fett, and or writer for Rogue Squadron? That's a good question. This comes up every year around May the 4th. And sometimes they do some big stuff, and sometimes they don't. I think we could be in line to get some announcements because, look, they announced a number of things at that Disney call, right? Where they announced all the Star Wars shows, all the Marvel shows, all that kind of stuff. But there weren't a lot of specifics. There were very, very few specifics. So, yeah. I mean, like cast. I mean, one of the shows I'm most excited about is The Acolyte. Oh my God, I'm excited for that show. Just the concept sounds great. So maybe a casting or something like that, or writers or direct, whatever. You know what? I'm going to go, I don't think it's going to be every year that they do stuff, but I think this year with all the projects they do have coming down the pipe, I think there will be things to announce. So I'm going to go out on a limb, James, and say, yes, I think we're going to get some announcements, or at least some kind of announcement. All right. B Bunk writes, love you, John and crew. Thank you so much, B-Bunk. Do you think that Mr. Chadwick had any say in Black Panther 2? Absolutely not. With everything happening so quick with filming, I feel like he had a conversation with Marvel. I think said what he wanted for the character. All right, I'm going to say something very unpopular, B-Bunk, but I don't care if it's popular or not. And whenever I say this, people hate that I say it, but I'll say it anyway. Actors should have zero say in what happens in a movie. Zero say. They should have as much say in what happens in a movie as the guy who prepares lunch for the crew should have say in the movie. The movie is produced by producers, directed by directors, and written by the writers. The actors are hired people to come in and act out and say the lines that they are given. Now, that's not me disrespecting actors. I have a huge respect for actors. Several of my best friends are actors, and it's huge what they do, but what they do needs to be confined to what they do. Unless they're a Tom Cruise who is also like the driving producer of a movie, not just some lame, oh, I get a producer credit, but like somebody like Tom Cruise who is actually the creative machine behind several of his movie IP. So unless you're that, an actor should have exactly zero say. Now, again, I know that's unpopular to say, but writers are there because they're writers. They don't get on the screen and act. I mean, sometimes writers are actors and actors are writers. Yes, yeah. But you see my point. The writers don't jump on screen and start acting out scenes because they have a role and they're really good at it, at least hopefully. Their job is to write and to create under the direction of the director, no understanding where the story wants to go and blah, blah, blah. Those are the people who decide with the producers and whatever. That's the group of people who should decide what happens. Actors are hired professionals brought in to act. So, no, I don't think Chadwick or any actor would get input into what they do. I'm sure Kevin Feige and directors in the MCU have approached different actors and say, what do you think about this? Which is only good, and you hear some different points of view. But do they actually get a say in what happens? No, absolutely not, nor should they. And again, I know that's listen, I get it. I can feel the hate. I can feel the hate swelling across the internet as I say that, and it comes up every time I do. But it's the truth. I really don't think they should. And I don't think they did. So no, I don't think Chadwick Boseman probably had any say in it, and nor should he. And guess what? Chadwick Boseman is too busy being an Academy Award nominated actor. Chadwick Boseman, health issues aside, was busy just, being one of the greatest actors in the world. That's what he was focused on, not trying to tell people what to make of their movies. So anyway, That's just my thoughts on that. Again, I completely understand. People hate that position that I have, but it is what it is. And I don't mind saying the unpopular thing. So go ahead, let the hate flow, but it is how I see it. Anyway, next up, we've got Zagard writes, apparently the only reason Millie Bobby Brown was on Godzilla vs. Kong was because she was contracted to be in the movie, and had no idea, and the director had no idea what to do with her character. So that actually, no, that's not true. That's not true. I don't believe that at all. Listen, whenever look, any contract can be made, but generally speaking, when you hear a certain actor signed a 4-film deal, that's great. It does not mean the studio is obligated to put them in any movies at all. What it does mean is that, like, if you hear that Chris Pratt has signed an 8-film deal to play Star-Lord, great. But that doesn't mean Marvel needs to make 8 movies with Star-Lord in it. All it means is that if they do make a movie with Star-Lord and they want Chris Pratt to be in it, he is contractually obligated to be in it. They are not contractually obligated to put him in it. Howard. Oh, why am I freezing on Howard's name? Hold on a second. I keep forgetting Howard's. Terrence Howard. Sorry, I didn't have to open the IMDb page. I just want it to be known. I didn't click on the IMDb page. I just remembered. So Terrence Howard, if you guys remember, he had, I believe, it was a 3-film contract, a 3-film deal to be War Machine, to be Rhodey in the MCU. But guess what? Marvel decided they wanted somebody else, which is really too bad. I mean, Don Cheadle is world class, but so is Terrence Howard. I mean, so it's too bad that Terrence Howard lost that role, but whatever. Just because they had a contract with him, that did not obligate them to use him. They were totally free to go get somebody else to play it. All it meant was that if they wanted him to be in it, he had to come and be in it. So I don't believe that the Warner Bros. Was like, oh no, well, we really had no plans for Millie Bobby Brown to be in the movie, but we're contractually obligated to put her in it. I don't buy. So I don't know where you're getting that. And again, anything could be negotiated. Maybe this is that 1 in a billion thing where maybe something like that was in there, but I'd be very, very curious to know where you're getting that information from. Did she have a contract? I'm sure. Did the contract obligated, Legendary to put her in it? Oh, I don't think so. That is not the way those contracts work most of the time. So I would be curious. Anything's possible. I would be curious to hear what your source is for that, because I personally think the source that you read was misinformed. I think whoever was telling you that, I believe they were misinformed. But again, I can't say that definitively. I'd have to see the contracts, which I will never see, of course. All right, next up. Double B Studios writes, where are we at here? So at the end of Endgame, when Steve hands the shield to Sam, like, here, you're Captain America now. Easy peasy, go save people. I was like, that easy? Okay. Then Kevin and the creatives boosted story with super serum and made it more meaningful, beautiful. Well, I mean, don't forget, by the time Old Man Steve hands the shield over to Sam had been with Cap for years. They had fought side by side for years. Like, Sam had already he was already an Avenger, right? So it's not like Old Man Steve walked up to, I don't know, Yori and said, "You look like a good fella. Here's my shield. Go be Captain America." No, he gave it to a guy who was already an Avenger. He's already fought shoulder to shoulder with for years. And that, but yes, you're right. They elevated everything in the show. Absolutely, they did, Double B. So, and I appreciated that a lot, just like you. All right, thanks for sharing that, man. All right, Double B also writes, me and the wife, enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Both had unique moments and hard to compare the two. That's true. They're very, very different shows. We're debating which one had the better ending. Wanda became Scarlet or Sam became Captain Cap/Falcon. They both have big roles up ahead. Okay. Wanda's revelation becoming Scarlet Witch was better to me than Sam's reveal as Captain America. That said, I think overall, while I thought WandaVision, I don't care what other people say. I thought the finale of WandaVision was really solid. I thought they stuck the landing. But I thought overall, the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier was probably better than the finale of WandaVision. I still think WandaVision overall was the better show by a little bit, but I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale was a little bit better. Even though I thought the reveal of Wanda as Scarlet Witch was a little bit better than the reveal of Sam as Captain America. So goes back and forth, but that's how I kind of see it. Anyway, let you and your wife can continue the debate, Double B. You guys continue that debate. All right, next up. The Sock writes, did a Mortal Kombat and Demon Slayer. I didn't even know what the latter was out in the States till I saw it at the movies. Mortal Kombat, just the thinnest level of character depth for Cole, but good time still. Demon Slayer had your boy crying at the end. Yeah, I have very, very little interest in watching Demon Slayer. That's not me talking crap on Demon Slayer. I haven't seen it to talk crap on it. Let's be clear about that. I just watched some previews for it and I'm like, that doesn't look like it appeals to me at all, so I have no desire to watch it. But yeah, look, there is so much wrong with Mortal Kombat, and that's fine. Like, here's the thing. A lot of film fans are very, very insecure. It's like, if they like something, they feel the need to defend everything about that movie. I do not. I had fun with Mortal Kombat. And I am secure enough in that to then say, but holy hell, there was a lot wrong with it. Doesn't change the fact, nor does it undermine the fact that I enjoyed it. I was entertained by it. I had some fun with it. But it is atrociously made in many ways. And I'm secure enough in that. But one of the down things about film fandom today is that they're just too thin-skinned. Like, even with the MCU, like when Falcon and Winter Soldier, like even when I point out the fact, like how utterly ridiculous was it in Falcon and Winter Soldier, when Falcon, who children in the street, refugees in camps, bankers over here, whatever, everybody recognized him. Oh my God, that's Sam Wilson. And even if they don't recognize Roy, they're like, I know you. He walks into a bar in Madripoor and ain't nobody recognizes him. BS. But the moment I bring that up, a whole bunch of people want to rush to the MCU's defense. It's like, no, guys, it's okay. Just acknowledge that that was a really stupid move on their showrunner's part, but that's okay. The show is still great. We're still allowed to love it. Like, so many film fans and movie fans feel like if you like something, you have to defend every single mistake or error or flaw with it, or else it delegitimizes your enjoyment of it. Not at all. Not at all. I loved Godzilla vs. Kong. But I made a video called The 5 Worst Things About Godzilla vs. Kong. Not because I didn't love Godzilla vs. Kong, but because I'm secure enough in my enjoyment of that movie that I can openly talk about the things that they did really badly in it. And so, anyway, yeah, there was a lot about Mortal Kombat that is really piss poor. There's just no getting around it, dude. There's a lot. That doesn't mean you have to agree. I mean, obviously, Sock, you do agree. But, I mean, it doesn't mean if you, the average viewer watching, doesn't mean you have to agree with me. Maybe you loved everything about it. That's great. If that's your experience with it, that's your experience with it. But I had fun with it. I'm going to see it again, but it's awful. It's awful in a lot of ways. Anyway, that's just me. All right, next up. Casey McNatt writes, part one of several. Hey, John, how are you tonight? I'm having a great evening tonight. Thank you so much, Casey. Hope you're doing well. I'm writing this on a Saturday night, which of course was this weekend. Just getting back from seeing Mortal Kombat. Overall, it was okay. I didn't like the whole Cole character. That's kind of a common theme amongst a lot of people. And his storyline, but the fighting was still pretty good. The fighting was pretty good in it. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to mention to you during the show. We got to see the first Conjuring 3 trailer, and it looks pretty good. The one thing I just wanted to mention, I was going to see this movie anyway, but the trailer gave me one other reason to see it. I did not know that John Noble, the steward of Gondor, that John Noble was going to be in this movie. He is probably one of my favorite actors from Fringe, so it's great. Will be great to see him on the big screen again. Anyway, have an awesome day. Yeah, that trailer for the new Conjuring came out. I think it's called Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Dumb title, but whatever. Maybe once I see the movie, it'll be the perfect title. But trailer was solid. I liked it. But yes, the appearance of John Noble. That's a terrible John Noble impersonation. Anyway, John Noble. You will think of him from Fringe. That's cool. I will always think, sing me a song, Master Hobbit. I will always think of him as Denethor, Steward of Gondor. That to me is what I will always think of him as. Is that dude has got a legendary screen presence. His voice is commanding. And he was in The Boys too. Wasn't he Butcher's dad? I think he was Butcher's dad in The Boys as well. So yeah, anyway, overall, Conjuring 3 trailer, solid little trailer. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. But yeah, just seeing John Noble, I had no idea John Noble was in it. No idea whatsoever. Seeing him pop up in it was a very, very, very welcome surprise to me. All right, next up. Mikey Roberts Meyer Burnett writes, John, I rarely disagree with you, but when I do, I like to discuss civilly. Okay. You keep saying Wakanda would want to kill Zemo. I don't agree. T'Challa specifically spared Zemo and said he wanted the killing to stop. They won't defy one king to avenge another. See, I think I disagree. Now, you also got to remember the specific circumstances in which he saved Zemo. Like, he didn't want Zemo to have the easy way out. Because remember, Zemo was just going to kill himself. And he didn't want him to have the easy way out. So there was that. Also, let's take a look at another situation. When there was a foreign individual who was an enemy of their state and caused great damage to their state. Claw. There were members of Wakanda who were willing to rebel against the legitimate king of Wakanda over the fact that they had not dealt with Claw and just wiped him out. There is no way you can convince me, without some important narrative hook, that an individual who actually murdered the king of Wakanda, that the Dora Milaje would just be, oh yeah, we're not even going to take him back to Wakanda to stand trial. We're not even going to take him back to Wakanda to punish him ourselves. We're not even going to take him back to Wakanda where we know he can never escape again. We'll take him to the raft and we'll let other people deal with it. The man who killed the Wakandan king and the Dora Milaje, whose only purpose for existing is protecting the king of Wakanda, and they're just going to hand him over to another foreign power? I don't buy that. You have to put in some kind of narrative explanation into that. Personally, I think they would just execute him on the spot. The Dora Milaje, I believe, would execute him on the spot. Because, he got arrested. They didn't get to imprison him. He escaped from other people and they killed their, you're going to have a hard time, Mikey. Again, I'm not, casting shade on your position on this. I'm just saying you're going to have to do a lot more to convince me that without a narrative tool put in there, without some kind of narrative explanation, you're going to have a hard time convincing me that the Dora Milaje would just go, cool, okay, we got him now. We're not only we're not going to kill him, we're not even going to imprison him ourselves. We're not even going to take him back to Wakanda. We're going to let, again, another foreign government, another foreign group of people take care of him, even though we trusted them to do that before and he escaped. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying. So I respect your position on that, Mikey. I'm just saying it's going to take a lot more convincing to make me change my mind on that. But that's the fun of being fans of this stuff, right? We're always going to have different perspectives on it. All right, next up. This one comes from the Wakandan Forever, who writes, Shang-Chi looks good. I think it looks great. He could be the hero we need right now. All I know is what Black Panther means to me. So I want to see everybody else get theirs. Do you think Sir Ben Kingsley will make a cameo and that the real Mandarin puts him in his place? Well, we already know from the MCU shorts, the Marvel shorts, that Ben Kingsley's character, I believe his name is Trevor, did get broken out of prison by the real Mandarin. So we know that happened. Whether Ben Kingsley actually makes an appearance in this, look, there's several questions to ask. Number one, I don't even know when this movie takes place. Like, I don't know if it takes place before the events of Iron Man 3. I don't know if it takes place, after Endgame. I just honestly don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the trailer again. But I guess there's a possibility. Ben Kingsley doesn't strike me as the sure, I'll just come in and do a cameo kind of guy, but maybe he would. And if he did, maybe it'd be kind of fun. All right, guys, last question of the day before we wrap this up. This one comes to us from Nosferatu, who writes, I'll tell you a little secret about zip codes. They're meaningless. That's Newman. I'll tell you a little secret about zip codes. They're meaningless. Of course, Newman in Seinfeld was a postman, so he knew that. But I tell you, we won't end on that one. We'll end with this one with Gabriel Sanchez, who says 2 of 2. I don't think we saw a 1 of 2. No. Okay, so part 1 didn't come through. Let's see if we can pick up what he's saying. Gabriel writes, crazy how times have changed. Watching the show has gotten me through some tough times. Well, thank you for that, man. I just want to say thanks for all you do from the days of the AMC storage closet till now, and to Filthy and Beyond. Oh, I like that. To Filthy, a little bit of Buzz Lightyear in there. To Filthy and Beyond. Well, listen, Gabriel, I'm sorry that I don't seem to have part 1 of your question, but thank you so much, man, for the kind words. I appreciate it. It always means a lot when somebody just wants to take time right in just to say something nice. That means a lot, dude. Thank you so much for that, and I appreciate it. All right, guys, listen. Tomorrow on the John Campea Show, we will start things off with Suthius's question about the director for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we'll start off there, and we will continue getting all caught up from there. But for now, guys, that'll do it for this installment of the companion videos. Thank you guys so much for being here and making this show a part of your evening. And a special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number 1, you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you actually support this channel and make our videos possible while you do it. And all of us involved with the John Campea Show, thank you guys very much for that support. Okay, guys, remember to do the 4 main things. Stay smart, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and please take care of the people around you. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.